Something felt wrong about my daughter's therapist. Everyone said I was paranoid. Dr. Lillian Foster had a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the park, diplomas from prestigious universities lining her walls, and a smile that made my spine tingle with warning. My daughter Sophie was 13 and struggling with anxiety after her mother's death 2 years earlier, and everyone from the school counselor to our family doctor had recommended Dr. Foster as the best child psychologist in the city. The first session, I sat in the waiting room for 50 minutes, staring at motivational posters about growth and healing while Sophie was alone with this woman I'd just met. When the door opened, Sophie looked different. Not better exactly, but subdued, quieter. Dr. Foster stood in the doorway with her hand on Sophie's shoulder and told me the session went wonderfully, that Sophie was very responsive to her methods. She suggested weekly sessions, possibly twice weekly if insurance would cover it. Something about the possessive way her fingers rested on my daughter's shoulder made my stomach clench, but I signed the consent forms for ongoing treatment because what kind of father would deny his grieving child the help she needed? The changes in Sophie started subtly. After the third session, she asked if she could have her phone during therapy because Dr. Foster said it helped her feel safe to have familiar objects nearby. I thought that made sense until I noticed Sophie was texting during sessions, her phone lighting up constantly. When I asked who she was talking to, she said Dr. Foster encouraged her to journal her feelings in real time through text messages, that it was a new therapeutic technique for digital native teenagers. Dr. Foster had given Sophie her personal cell number for these therapeutic texts, explaining in a follow-up call that she believed in being accessible to her patients during crisis moments. She said Sophie was showing tremendous progress and the text-based journaling was accelerating her healing. My ex-wife's sister, Aunt Rebecca, said I was lucky to find such a dedicated therapist. My best friend Daniel said most therapists wouldn't give out personal numbers, that it showed real commitment. Everyone thought it was wonderful that Sophie had found someone she could open up to after 2 years of grief-stricken silence. By the 6th session, Sophie was asking to go to therapy early and staying late. Dr. Foster explained that Sophie had requested extended sessions because she felt safe in the office and was working through deep trauma. She said some patients needed more intensive treatment and that Sophie was ready to do the hard work of processing her mother's death. The insurance company approved twice weekly 90-minute sessions based on Dr. Foster's recommendation, which she framed as medically necessary for a high-risk adolescent with complicated grief. I was paying $300 a week out of pocket for the portions insurance didn't cover, but Dr. Foster assured me this investment would prevent Sophie from developing more serious mental health issues later. Sophie started calling Dr. Foster by her first name, Lillian, saying the doctor had insisted on it to create a more comfortable therapeutic relationship. When I questioned whether that was appropriate, Dr. Foster explained that traditional therapeutic boundaries were being reconsidered in modern practice, that research showed authentic connection facilitated better outcomes than rigid professional distance. Sophie's phone became an extension of her body. She was texting constantly, smiling at messages in ways I hadn't seen since before her mother died. When I asked what she was talking about, she'd say she was journaling her feelings or that Lillian was checking in on her progress. The few times I tried to see the messages, Sophie would pull the phone away and tell me that her therapy communications were confidential, that Lillian said parents reading therapy journals was a violation of trust. Dr. Foster confirmed this in our next parent consultation, explaining that Sophie needed a space where she felt her privacy was respected, that teens with trust issues required absolute confidentiality to engage in meaningful therapeutic work. She said my desire to monitor Sophie's phone indicated my own control issues that I might want to address in therapy. The implication was clear. Back off or be labeled the problem parent. My mother said I was being paranoid, that I should be grateful Sophie was finally opening up to someone. Aunt Rebecca said I was threatened by another woman having influence over Sophie, that I needed to let professionals do their job. 3 months into treatment, Sophie asked if she could go to Dr. Foster's house for a session. That's when things got a lot worse. To see the full story, click the link below or go on my channel.